It Happened on the Job, the podcast for relatable conversations with contractors. Sponsored by Goodman Insurance.
Welcome to It Happened on the Job, episode 135. Today, my name is Mike. That's Brian.
Yo.
Our guest today is Robert Cianciminio. How you doing, sir?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
Fantastic.
Good,
Thank
Robert.
you. Before we get started, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by the Buildsters. Check out thebuildsters.com to find out how to become an accredited Buildsters Pro member today. You'll instantly become a part of a network of the best suppliers, manufacturers, and contractors in the industry, where you'll have the ability to showcase your work to thousands of qualified buyers. Stop paying for leads that don't convert and become a Buildsters Pro member today. All right, got that out of the way. How we doing?
That was pretty good, man. That was better than last time.
Yeah, getting pretty good. Yeah. I might be a pro later too.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, Robert Cianciminio, Chief Operating Officer.
Oof.
Man, I am. The reader was good, but now I'm screwing up. Chief Operating Officer at Glazing Concepts. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good, man. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate you showing up today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit. So, how we get these started? Kind of give us your history. How did you get started in the industry and the road to where you are now?
Sorry. Well, back in '91, I was freshly out of the reserves in the Navy.
Oh, well, thank you for your service.
Thank you. And I was given a job or an opportunity to do outside sales for the automotive industry, and I absolutely hated it.
The sales part or the automotive
sales
part?
The cold calling, it just wasn't me. And a friend of mine says, "Why don't you look into inside sales?" So I looked in the paper back then, and there was a position open for estimated to bid Herculite glass doors and storefronts for a company called Brightview Glass Systems. So I interviewed there, and a gentleman named Bob Gross, who was the owner, gave me the shot. $6 an hour.
$6 an hour.
$6 an hour, and told me after 30 days, if I do good, he'll give me a $50 a week raise. And granted, I was married with 2 kids at that time.
Jeez.
So I worked there, and then at night I worked.
This wasn't the 50s either. You said it was 90s,
it was 91.
right?
Yeah, it was $6 an hour, and at night I would work there from, I believe it was 8 to 5, and then after that I would drive to Diamond Bar and work at Italian Deli part time, and on the weekends for the other $6 an hour.
Cool.
Yeah, and rent was $750 a month back then. Even that was.
I was gonna say that's
still pretty high.
Yeah.
Especially at $6 an hour. But I had good parents that helped.
There you go.
When I needed. My mom and dad never came over without bags of food or stuff, or diapers.
So you started it as an estimator with that other company. How far did you get up with them?
I worked there for, I believe, 2 years, and the owner, Bob, sold out to a company called Conair. Okay. And eventually, I think all of us kind of struggled with the corporate world versus being a family-owned company. So after his time that he needed to stay with the company, he left and started a company called Grandview Glass Systems, and I followed him over there. And I worked there for a few years, and then it was time to move on. I went to another company in, I believe, '95 called Trident Glass Company. And I worked there for probably 4 years. And I just knew that I was capped out on what kind of money I would be able to make. And, I was young and hungry back then.
Yeah.
So one of my customers was a subcontractor, offered me a position working for him in Burbank and as an estimator. So I figured that was my chance to at least learn more of a different part of the business and to eventually hopefully make more money. So I took that shot, and it was a good decision, but not a good decision. He was great when I dealt with him on the phone as a customer, but working for him was a little difficult. And driving to Burbank from Diamond Bar, and at that time I was in the process of going through my divorce. And my ex-wife lived with the kids in Fontana, so I would drive from Burbank to Fontana every other Friday, then back to Diamond Bar, so it was a 3.5-hour drive every other Friday.
Oh, wow. And
then a position opened up with a friend of mine who was running a glass company in Corona, and this is moved up to 99 now, and he offered me a position with his company in Corona, and I just happened to buy a house in Fontana, and I was engaged to get married again, and I took that job, and I've been with Tim at Glazing Concepts now. It was Centerpoint Glass back then, ever since.
Wow.
I did leave for a short time to start my own business customizing cars, but when the economy took a dive in '08, I pretty much had to shut the doors.
Yeah.
Went back into the glass business.
So I mean, from the sounds of it, it sounds like you've learned everything on the job, right? I mean, there was no schooling or no kind of trade school or anything like that. I mean, it was trial by fire.
I learned estimating, and I learned a lot more when I started working for Tim. Back then, though, it was all blueprints,
right?
And there was no computers. Everything was manually takeoffs, and we would do takeoffs and send. We had fax machines. We'd send the fax takeoff to the manufacturers to give us price, and then we put the materials together, the cost of the materials, the labor, and just do it that way. Then fast forward.
So it took a week and a half because you had to wait for back and
forth.
Pretty
much.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no like, hey, I need a price in 2 hours kind of stuff.
Right.
I mean, you can wing it. As the more experience you get, you can get it. Figure out the labor. And a lot of project managers or estimators always started in the field first.
Right.
I never did that. I went right into the estimating part of it, and then I just kind of learned the labor or what it took to do the labor by experience of knowing what the guys went through. And asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So I worked with Tim at Glazing Concepts. At that point, it was Centerpoint Glass. And what Centerpoint Glass was we were a satellite office for them. They had their main office in Northern California, and they were union, and we were non-union. And because there was started to be a little bit of heat, they decided to sell the company to Tim for its assets, basically. And we changed the name to Glazing Concepts. And it's been Glazing Concepts ever since. And then, so after I shut my doors at the off-road shop that I owned, I went to Tim, back to work for Tim as a service manager, and then project manager. Then eventually got promoted to vice president and COO.
Wow. So you've been all over this company, right? How much time did it take spending out in the field with the guys to kind of learn that side of it?
I didn't spend a lot of time out in the field with the guys, but I worked a lot with the guys that worked in the field. So I would, just hearing what it took to get the job done and just kind of retaining it and figuring out how long it would take to do a certain job. But labor, even with the estimators these days, labor is it's a guesstimate. Because you never know what you're going to run into in the field. We try to be Glazing Concepts as prepared as possible before we go to a job, but there's always something that's going to happen, and that's what I deal with on a daily basis.
The nature of construction.
Yeah.
So what kind of work are you guys doing now?
We do no residential, all commercial, a lot of TI, new construction. We'll take jobs from $300 to a couple of million. Whatever we can get our hands on. So we have 3 big jobs we're finishing right now, and we have a couple big ones on the hook right now. So hopefully one of them is going to start pretty soon here, and possibly the next week.
Yeah.
So it's a roller coaster, up and down. So
construction. Yeah.
And so I do the schedule for all the guys too, and it's a lot easier to do the schedule when we're super slammed, because then all you have to do is, if you can't make it to a job or something has to get delayed, you just communicate with the customer, and majority of the times they're understanding for this. If they're not, then I get it, so I just try to rearrange it. But it's harder when we're slow and I have to give guys time off.
Right.
But it's the nature of the beast. Some of them understand it, some of them don't. If they have sick days or vacation days, obviously I approve whatever they need so they can at least get close to their 40 hours.
Yeah.
But some of them run out of it, or some of them don't have it yet because they don't want to start accruing vacation to a certain amount of time within the company.
So where's your role developed into? What is your day-to-day operations?
I handle pretty much all operations. So, and I guess you could say I'm basically here to support all the field guys, and then we have superintendents. So I have 2 superintendents. We have a design department that report to me. All the guys in the field report to me, and my superintendent. I try to push it more towards my superintendent, but they're so used to dealing with me over the years that they're creatures of habit, which I am too. So, but I deal with even the shipping and receiving department we have. So anytime they make a mistake, the project managers come to me, and then I have to deal with it.
Right.
But mistakes happen. As long as they don't keep happening, is what you try to work against.
Are you involved in the hiring at all of the field labor?
Yes, I do all the interviews and hiring. I do all the reviews of the field guys and the people that are under me.
So walk me through your hiring process, because I know that's pretty difficult right now for a lot of contractors, and I would have to imagine it's probably even more difficult for something as specialized as you guys.
Well, we were using Indeed, but the way I look at it is when the industry's busy, and I'm going to say we're still a busy industry, if you have a guy who comes in and says, oh, I have 30 years experience, I need a job, I want to make 40, 45 bucks an hour, you kind of wonder if he's that good and has that much experience, why is he looking for a job right now? So that's because they're a wanted guy, and so you want to check their references, and if we do hire them, they have to go through a drug screen and a background check just to make sure they're on the up and up. But with the way that even with the marijuana laws are these days, we're a little bit flexible with that, as long as obviously don't do it on the job sites.
Right.
We are fully into safety, obviously, because that's a big plus. You have to be involved in that. So actually, my son works for us, so he's one of our superintendents, but he's more geared towards handling all the safety stuff. So he's my go-to guy if I need stuff.
You paying him $6 an hour as well?
Yeah, I don't think he'd survive on that with 2 kids.
Oh, he's got for sure.
No. Yeah.
Well, you couldn't barely survive on it. Well, no, you couldn't, right? $6 an hour. No,
I worked that job, and I worked at deli, and then my sister and brother-in-law owned a courier business delivering hospital scopes. So I would do that. Try getting lost in L.A. with a Thomas guide.
Oh, I remember those.
And no cell phones back then either.
Yeah, you have to pull over to the side of the road, or you got it sitting on your lap as you're trying to navigate. Yep.
Yeah, and no patience here.
In L.A., that sounds about right.
Oh, yeah.
So, Indeed may or may not be working for you. Where have you guys found most of your success in hiring guys?
Well, what we did is we started a program with our guys to reach out to people they know, and if they brought someone on board and we hired them, if they lasted 90 days, they would get a $100 gift card. So we tried doing that, and that worked for us. I think the best way to hire people is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Or you steal them, which we don't typically do. But a lot of times our industry is so big but so small that what would happen is guys would hear, oh, Glazing Concepts is busy. And they treat their guys
Everybody
good, so they come by and and I'll give them a shot, and I've hired quite a few guys that way, and they see how we run compared to the company run. We would do quarterly meetings, so every third month we have a company meeting. We serve lunch and kind of go over what's going on with the company, what jobs we got going on, just things that are going on within the company, and we do an Employee of the Quarter award. And we give them a $100 gift card for that. And then we do a raffle. So I'll go out and buy gift cards or tools or gifts, and guys pull the raffle ticket and they get gifts. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys do that every quarter?
Yep.
Very cool.
Little perks and benefits.
Yeah.
Along the way, yeah.
So walk through maybe the safety stuff that you guys. What do you think that maybe your son is kind of pushing right now that may be different than some of the other guys out there?
Well, we require all of our foremen to be OSHA 30 certified.
Okay.
Then all the younger guys, or the guys that are not running jobs, to be at least OSHA 10 certified. Everyone has to be heat and illness and CPR certified. So he handles all that. Another thing we do is we require all of our foremen to do a tailgate and safety form every Thursday. They just have certain topics that Justin will send them.
Yep.
So it could be on hard hat safety, eye safety glasses, ladder safety, and we constantly reiterate to them how important that is, because if accidents do happen, and if an accident does happen, OSHA does get involved.
Yep.
And if you have all your ducks in a row, let's say, it
makes it a lot easier.
It limits the amount of what the fine would be.
The fine, yeah.
Yeah, because the fine could be $10,000.
Right.
It's happened to us. For a guy falling off a ladder. And we were able to get it down to almost a couple $100 just because we had our paperwork taken care of.
Yeah, everything in
line. And the safety was taken care of. So. A lot of the guys, they're like, why do we got to do this every week? But it's very important. And so what we do is every other Monday we have a foreman meeting at 5 a.m. So that was just this Monday. So my son and the superintendents will create an agenda or make notes of things that came about during the last 2 weeks, and we bring that up. And then I'll step in and bring up other issues that we need to work on. And that's usually a half-hour meeting, and then they go on their way to their jobs. Some of them fight it and I get it, because their jobs might be in Topanga or L.A. and driving from Corona to L.A. They like to be on the road by 4:30 or 5, and then they're stuck in a meeting till 5:30. But it's only every 2 weeks.
Gotta get it done though, right?
Yeah, and if they're running a job, they have seconds and they have other guys. You can tell them, line them up, the Friday before, and let them know what they got to do, and you're going to be a couple hours late. It's just communication.
Yeah.
But most of them have been with us for quite a long time, so they're used to it.
What's the manpower you guys are operating with? How many?
We have 30 guys right now.
Wow, in the field, just in the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of guys to manage.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I'm used to it. It sounds bad, but I work good off chaos.
Yeah.
Because my door, it seems like if there's an issue, they're always coming to my door or calling me. But I support the project management team too with labor. Obviously, they come to me and say, hey, Robert, we need guys for this job. If we're slow, like this morning, I reached out to them, hey, whatever jobs you have, whatever communication you can have with any of your clients, if they're ready, get a hold of them today. I need work for the rest of the week.
Yeah. For
some of the guys, so I don't have to give guys a day off. But the guys, I try not to, when I'm giving guys days off, I don't typically pick on the guys that are the newest. Newest or the lower performers,
right?
But I try not to do that. It just depends, because if I have 4 guys on one job and then need them for the next job, but the other guys didn't work, I can't pull these guys off. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
I have to leave the same guys on the same job as much as possible.
Keep them all together, yeah.
Well, it's kind of the draw of construction, right? You have this every day is a new day, right? You have new challenges every day. It keeps you in your toes, So I agree with you in terms of personality-wise, like working off chaos and being able to navigate and kind of get through that every day. It makes the day easier to pass, right? You have new things that you got to get through. I can't imagine sitting and doing the same thing every day, day in, day out. Yeah. Think of like Joe versus the Volcanoes, sitting in that that room with all fluorescent lights. That's the draw of construction. You get to actually face those new challenges, new projects. Every project's unique and different, and then tack on top of that. Sometimes you guys are slammed and sometimes you're not. And either way, you're trying to have to divvy up your guys and figure out what they're doing. Yeah,
you have to be a quick decision maker too. Stuff happens. For example, we had a job. It was a pretty big piece of glass. It's a glass replacement, but it was ordered in the shop since December. The job got delayed because of COVID. They didn't want no one at the job site until this kind of tamed down. So that being said, today was the day to do the job. Well, yesterday, the guys, what we do is the project management team makes a load list for the shipping guys and email it to them so they know what truck, and I'll tell them what truck to load, and they load the truck. So when the guys come in the morning, they can jump in and pretty much double check their load and go.
Right.
Well, I did the schedule, and then when I do the schedule, I email it to all the project managers so they can see that I got their jobs scheduled and who's going to their jobs. So if they need to communicate with the foreman or whatever, they know who's going. And so I get a call around 2 o'clock yesterday, and the project assistant says, hey, we have a problem. The piece of glass that we're supposed to do tomorrow, they threw it away by accident. Because when we rotate the glass, it was here so long, it shuffled behind some other stacks of glass.
Somebody thought it was extra or something.
And one of the guys in the shop was cleaning up, and they tossed it. And I said, okay, well, what kind of glass is it? And he told me. I said, okay, well, you can get that overnight. Call this company, see if you can get it overnight, and then I'll call the crew and tell them, don't come in at 5 in the morning, come in at 6 in the morning. So we did that. Okay, so we went out to the shop this morning, and my foreman comes to my office. He goes, they didn't load the truck. They didn't do nothing. I'm like, okay, I'll have to talk to him when he comes in. I said, just go ahead and get it handled. So anyways, I went down on it a little bit farther, and what happened was when the project assistant ran out to the shop yesterday and realized the glass was broken, he came back in and ordered it, and then there was a miscommunication between him and the shipping manager. The shipping manager didn't know that he ordered it and was able to get it for this morning, so he didn't load the truck. So it was an honest mistake.
Right.
So I'm not going to beat the guy up over it. We were able to handle it, load the truck, and we went. So hopefully everything goes good, because they're there right now.
Waiting for that phone call when you're done here, huh?
Oh, yeah. So, and that could be a reason why that other guy was just calling me. Who knows?
Right.
The only, when you ask for glass overnight, you're at their mercy.
Right.
We'll get there at 7:30, and hopefully the glass is ready to be picked up. So,
but a lesson in life, right? That's just life. Life is it throws curveballs at you every day, and you got to figure out how to navigate and how to deal with those on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And
and mistakes happen, and that was a mistake.
Right. Well, yeah.
So how do you handle it? So what I told the shipping manager, I said, okay, moving forward, create a couple A-frames and mark that trash glass, and then separate it from all the new deliveries. And so you can be sure that something doesn't get thrown away again.
Right. That's maybe on hold because of COVID.
Yeah.
Speaking of COVID, so you were talking before about just you guys sometimes are slammed and sometimes it's a little bit slower. So how has that been? I know we're well over a year now into this whole kind of experiment. So that being said, how are you guys, especially on the commercial side of things? I know, there's, at least on our side, we hear a lot of like question marks, like, will people be going back to work? Are they going to be working from home remotely? Like, how has work been for you guys, especially being fully commercial?
We've only had a couple of jobs get delayed. One big job, it's a private school in Pasadena, and that was the owner's choice to stop the job,
right?
Because it was such a fairly large job, and there was too many different subcontractors there. So that job was postponed, and we still have all the materials in our shop, so we were able to bill for it, the materials anyways, and we stored all the glass on the job site.
Yeah.
So that being said, it didn't cost us, and we just didn't have a billing for it.
Right.
So that's supposed to go, I believe now it's August, and we had one other job get delayed. But for the most part, we kept on moving.
Yeah.
As far as our office is concerned, we started off with no issues, and then we had like an influx of it, and of guys getting sick, and then we just again, that's my son stepped up to the plate and handled all of it.
Yeah.
How to take care of the guys, how to notify, send the letters out to the contractors, do the trace tracking and all that.
Right.
He handled all that. And we just give the guys off the time that they needed. And if they were around someone, they'd have to quarantine too. So, and as far as the office, a couple of departments rotate, and some of them still do. Our project management team rotates, and our finance team rotates. Me being operations, and I'm not a big techo guy, which is one of my weakest points. It gets brought to me attention by the way. I don't want to work from home.
Yeah.
It's just
don't
be
either.
operations.
Yeah.
What all I can do from home really is answer the phone and do emails.
Yeah.
When you're a project manager, and you need to look at plans or make decisions, it's easier accessible from home. So I have that capabilities of working from home. I have a laptop with a docking station, all that, so I could do it. But it's just I'm a creature of habit. I need to get up, go to the office.
Yeah.
I get up at 3:00 every day. Even on Saturdays and Sundays, I have to force myself to stay in bed because my body automatically just opens up at 3. But by 7:30 at night, I'm struggling. It's funny. Like on a Friday night, my kids come down. It's like 9:30. You're still up? I'm forcing myself.
Yes.
Yes.
So what's the management structure look like at your office? Who else is involved in all those management decisions you guys make?
Well, there's me. So I handle pretty much all of operations. We have our project management executive is Chris. He oversees the project management team to support them. Tim is our CEO. He pretty much oversees everything and helps with sales. So his main job is to oversee the estimating and project management team in a sense and get the jobs. And then we have our chief estimator, Derek, who oversees and does all the estimating. Then we have a design department who Don oversees, and they do all of our shop drawings and handle the submittals and whatever else, revisions, whatever.
Are you guys actually stamping drawings and doing all that kind of stuff too? Oh, okay.
No. If it is a job that needs to be engineered and stamped, we create the drawings and then we send them to an engineer for him to calc and stamp them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty fun though. Where are you guys finding most of your business?
We have a lot of, Tim's been around for a while, that he has a lot of repeat business. We have certain clients that we've done a lot of work with, and he's very relationship geared. So a lot of it's return customers. Then we recently hired a girl, Regina, to do follow-ups on all the bids because we're so busy bidding that there was no chance really to have time to do follow-ups.
Right.
And those were lacking. So with Regina coming in now and doing the follow-up, she's stirring up the pot, and she's starting to get a lot of
Business
information.
Like, hey, how did this go? What can we do better? Like, do you have anything else coming up?
Or even getting new clients. It's helping us get new contractors that we've never dealt with before. So that being said, you have to really make sure you review the contracts because now you're dealing with contractors you never dealt with.
Right.
Which is fine. And Tim handles all that. He reviews the contracts. So does the estimator. Once he gets the job, he reviews the contract to make sure it matches his bid.
Yeah.
But she's doing a good job helping start with the pot, and it helps. That when a woman calls, guys seem to be more perceptive to that.
No, that's smart. Yeah, a little bit more willing to open up and talk a little bit. Huh?
And it's true. Some guys that's the way they are, especially in the construction industry for some reason.
Are you guys doing anything from a digital standpoint as far as social media or videos or anything along those lines? Or?
We are involved with LinkedIn, and we do we have our structural elements, we call them, and it's basically a phrase for each day of the week, and then I upload that to our ADP, and then we also put that on LinkedIn. We're still working with that. Actually, a couple of the younger guys are thinking about doing a podcast too for the company.
All right. There you
go. Or doing training with videos and then uploading those. So that's something that's in the works. Is doing the training and doing them.
Yeah, I mean, it's what's cool about it is you're doing that right for an in-house thing, right? But then also you're going to be able to have that content for anytime you hire new people, and you're going to have that library. But just putting it out there on the internet, when people start searching or whatever, like those kind of things are going to pop up. And sure, they might not sell your company, right? Like somebody sees a training video of somebody that inside your office is doing. It's not like, wow, look at the work they can do, but it's more just that you're out there, right? That you're even.
Yeah, we want to get we want to get involved with. It's just brought up to my attention again. It should be something that we do naturally, is take pictures of our work, so we can post them on LinkedIn, especially some of the higher end jobs that are pretty intricate. Like we're just finishing up one in El Segundo called the 101 Continental, and we call it the sawtooth curtain wall. It's actually jogs back and forth, so get some good pictures of that up on LinkedIn. So that's something I'm going to be working on too, is just while we're slow, just assigning someone to just go to some of these job sites and take nice photos so we can upload them onto LinkedIn.
Yeah. It kind of creates a digital business card for you, right? Yes. I mean, anybody looks you up, they can see the kind of the work that you guys are doing. That'd be fun. Yeah, we look forward to kind of following you on that. That'd be
and we have a website too, so that's something that it just needs to have someone assigned just to work with it. To update it.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, you got to be deliberate. You got to be you got to be deliberate about all those things, right? I mean, especially because they change so often, and that part of the industry moves so fast.
Right, and you tend to get busy with doing the normal day-to-day process stuff that you do, and you never think about doing that as much as you should.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to keep the name out there and going, especially now, like you said, everything's digital and on the internet.
Yep.
I know, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that you're hiring too, right? Not even from a sales standpoint, but from a hiring standpoint. And that's where a lot of prospects are looking for work, or at least looking you up when they hear you might be hiring.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if anything, it creates a validation. I mean, that's the one thing I think that's most difficult is like, where's the return on investment? We put so much money into photos or whatever, but or the people that are actually doing it, because I know some people have social media managers and all these different marketing people that work for them. But I mean, I've talked to multiple different people where they have issues and are like, we just didn't hire them because we couldn't find them anywhere. We actually had a contractor. It was an HVAC guy. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking.
Tony?
It might have been Tony Molnar.
Yeah.
And they just put up a website 6 months ago, something like that. They've been in business for 20 years.
Yeah.
Now they didn't need it for a long time, but it was kind of one of those things where like, okay, now we're starting to lose work, or at least maybe not lose work, but having to deal with issues where people are wondering if we actually exist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Are we the fly-by-night company and the pickup truck and the magnetic stamp on the side of the door? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's so funny. Like I know we work with the Buildsters, and they have connections with a bunch of different contractors, mostly on the residential side, but their thing was like, we just get a guy, the project manager, out in the job, and he takes his iPhone and takes a bunch of pictures. Yeah, they don't even have to be
professional to take photos, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the equipment now is so advanced in terms of the quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's always one of those things. Like maybe for you at 7:30 at night, it's like, man, I should have done that today. I was so busy dealing with
gotta be a mindset, yeah, for sure.
Guys throwing away glass in the back, Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things that you have to be intentional about. It's like anything, right? But yeah, it's just one more thing sometimes. But
so, what are some of those cool jobs that you guys have done that you're? I mean, doing glass, I gotta imagine it's like we had some. I think episode number 2, Natalie from Giroux Glass.
Yeah.
She was on which I'm sure you've heard of. She was on our show, but so it's fun because she said the same thing, right? Like you drive by a building or you you're driving around somewhere and you get to point at something and you get to see your work, right? From hundreds of feet away.
We did that. Yeah.
Miles away, right? Like you can see your work. Whereas the guy that did the drywall, the electrical, or the plumbing, like his work is never really seen or admired, right? So
very true.
Yeah. So what are some of those jobs that are for you? Like you drive by and you're like, wow, we did that. Are there?
Well, I mean, I don't get on the road very often, but like a couple of weeks ago, I went with the owner and we went to a few jobs, so you get to see some of the work that you guys have done. And 101 Continental was one of them. Then we just finished. Lady Gaga has a studio, it's like a makeup hair salon for.
Cool.
I don't know exactly what its purpose
Don't
is.
ask questions, right? Yeah.
But
Especially with Lady Gaga.
yeah, I believe it's just to do makeup and hair studio for. I believe training purposes, but there's a bathroom in there, and the whole bathroom we installed pink mirror. I mean, on the walls, ceiling, everything. So, and we worked on that first. It had to be done on a weekend, so we did it on the weekend.
Pink mirror, huh?
Yeah, it was a pink mirror.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we did that. The 101 Continental, like I was saying, we did a big job in El Segundo last year called 777 Aviation, which was a pretty good-sized job for us. But like I said, we do so many different facets of the industry, so we dive into pretty much anything.
All the interior stuff too, right? It sounds like a lot of the mirrors and.
We do a lot of interior work. You know, it could be doors, glass, door front. We're all different types of situations.
That's fun, man. So where's Glazing Concepts headed? What's the future look like for you guys?
Well, we're pushing to be a $14 million a year company is what our goal is. Obviously with COVID, it kind of derailed that a little bit. Yeah, so that's something we're working towards. That's the main goal. And
14 million, all self-performed too, right? Because you hear some of these GCs and they're like, oh, we do 50 million, but I mean,
we sub out everything.
Yeah, they sub out it all, right?
The only time we actually sub anything out is we may sub out caulking, depending on how big the job is, because our guys, a few of them can caulk, but because if it's a big job and there's so much labor involved in that, we'll sub it out. Another thing we sub out is window film.
Right.
We don't do that too often, but if a job requires that and they want us to include it within our bid, then we just sub it out.
Yeah.
Right.
We have a guy that we deal with for that. So, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, 14 million though. So are there things in place to kind of get you guys there? Do you see it happening this year, next year?
I think this year might be rough.
Yeah.
Maybe next year, depending on how the economy does. We have a couple decent sized jobs right now that we just received, a couple million to $1 million jobs, and then we're doing a big one in Northern California, but just got pushed from May to August to now. And that, I don't think it has anything to do with COVID. I just think that they're just behind.
That's just construction, right? I mean, At some point, you realize, well, this isn't a COVID thing anymore. We're back to just regular construction delays.
That was in Northern California, and the owner just happened to be up there a month ago, and they didn't even have the foundation poured yet. So obviously, we weren't going to be starting in May.
Yeah, because you guys are probably pretty late into the game, right? Especially if you're doing exterior glass.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it depends on the job. Some of them go fast. Some of the mixed use typically go really slow. Because they're dealing with the stuff on the upper levels, and we're typically on the first level when it's a mixed-use building. So we've had a couple of those over the years that drag on.
Yeah.
But then once you're on them, it's you go for it. But a majority of work is, like I said, in the valley. We're doing one in Brentwood right now, finishing up, and another one in L.A. And then a lot of our jobs are in Irvine, Orange County area. Yeah. But the one big job that is a Subaru dealership, that's in Northern California. So
and you guys send guys up there to
will with this
work,
one. So it'll take some getting prepared for.
Yeah.
So we already have some things in the works on how to deal with it. But now that it got pushed to August, we have some more time.
Yeah.
Any crazy stories of glass flying around on job sites or falling through windows or anything?
No, thank God.
Good.
We don't want that.
So your son's doing a good job then, is what you're saying. Keeping everybody safe.
Yeah, that's the main goal. I mean, that's why we push safety, and our guys are required to do a daily report every day. So, and part of that requirement is to take pictures, and it's always funny when you see it. I look at the daily reports. As soon as I walk in the door every day, I open my emails and I'll look at the guys' daily reports and read them to see what they need, how the day went, if there's any injuries, because they have to put all that in there. And there'll be a picture of a guy leaning on the ladder the wrong way. I'm like, really?
Come on, bro.
Even put it in your report.
You control this. You don't have to take a picture
So then
of
I
that.
screenshot that and email it to the foreman. I'm like, really? Come on.
That's funny.
And they don't respond, by the way.
Right, yeah, no. My bad. Very cool, man. Well, we appreciate you taking the time with us. Before we let you run, we want to give you an opportunity to let everybody know where to find you, how to get a hold of you guys, websites, emails, whatever it is.
Okay, well, we're Glazing Concepts Incorporated, located in Corona, California. We are in the process of possibly buying our building or moving. But we'll stay local because the owner lives local. So
Yeah.
we usually stay within Corona or Riverside area. Other than that, it's glazingconceptsinc.com.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Nice and easy.
Okay.
Very cool, man. Well, thanks, Robert. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yeah,
so
Robert.
much.
All right.
Stay
that
safe
was
out
easy.
there. Yeah.
All right.
Hey, thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, go ahead and give us a like or 5 stars or whatever means you like us.
Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. And check out our website for more video content and extras.
While you're there, shoot us a message if you want to be a guest. We'd love to have you on.
Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.